Josh Berry. In 2007, he became the INEX Tennessee Semi-Pro State Champion, the Mid-South Legends Tour Semi-Pro Champion, and the Music City Motorplex Legends Semi-Pro Track Champion. In 2008, he graduated to become the Huntsville Speedway Legends Track Champion and the Mid-South Legends Tour Champion. No more semis in there. He was full solid. In 2009 was the year where he won the Legends Track Championship at Fairground Speedway. Then in 2010, he moved over to Junior Motorsports to race late models for Dale Jr. He won a lot of races here and there, raced a few Arca Menards races, raced 11 truck races, only scoring one top 10. Then in 2021, he made 22 starts in the Xfinity Series and won 2 of them. In that year, he also made 2 Cup starts, but drove in the 77, so he was shit. In 2022, he broke out to win 3 Xfinity races and made his way into the Final 4. And now, in 2023, whilst Chase Elliott is out sipping cough medicine, sniffing glue in a 5-star hotel room, all while claiming injury comp for tripping over a twig, Josh Berry managed to finish second in Richmond in his 4th start in a NASCAR next-gen car. What actual legend. What a guy. Stuart Haas are going to be looking for a driver. Me and Dan spoke about this off camera, where they should hire Michael McDowell. You weren't thinking about it, but now you are, and you want it to happen. But to replace Eric Almirola next year when he eventually retires, they need Josh Berry. He's going to be that guy that takes them from here, because they're hiring guys for funding purely, to here, because they have a guy that can go out and win races.
Hey everyone, thank you for joining us again for another episode of NASCAR Cup Dates. This weekend we found ourselves at Richmond, and this track is no stranger to some of the most storied winners of all time. First one being in 1953 with Lee Petty, none other. And not to mention we also had King Richard winning further on down the road, as well as Kyle Petty back in 1986. What other winners do we have down this list? We got Dale Sr. and Dale Jr., Rusty Wallace and Mark the Man Martin. Yes, I will say it every single time I see Mark Martin's name on a list. I am obligated, not by contract, but by moral code, and I'm not stopping anytime soon. But enough of me gushing about my favorite driver of the past. Let's talk about what just happened at Richmond this week, and let's get to it.
In the middle of the week, it was announced that Hendrick Motorsports were found guilty for modifying parts, but they managed to brush off the points part of the penalty. They didn't get their crew chiefs back or the money. I think it's a load of bull, but it's clearly not up to me. And I'm refilming this bit on Thursday because it's just been announced that Justin Haley's penalty has been upheld. What is this bullshit? What is this panel? So it's now going to the final appeals panel. It could either be that Cordig Racing gets twatted 3 times, or everything gets untwatted. Someone check Hendrick's bank account, man. Someone, please. And right, get this. Second update they've had to make. Hendrick Motorsports has just been given another penalty. This time it was level 1 because William Byron and Alex Bowman had some violation on the greenhouse part of the car. I don't know what that means. But let's be real, there's got to be another penalty, and it's probably going to go in their way. Richmond is the shittest race of the year, and we get it twice. What the fuck are we playing at? We did have the threat of rain, because practice and qualifying were both rained out. So Alex Bowman sat on pole, and it looked like we were going to get the first look at the wet weather gear that NASCAR have put in place for these short tracks. Obviously, we can't have nice things. So that didn't happen. Nothing happened in stage 1 apart from we had a competition caution and Denny Hamlin spun JJ Yaley. In stage 2, Josh Berry spun off turn 4, which actually makes this whole intro bit. And that was the only on-track action. Richmond is to the point where anything interesting happens in the pits, and no racetrack should ever be like that.
Guys were going at it for a while. Mid-pack, there was a lot of other action going on. For me, I noticed mostly everything happening on pit road. My personal favorite incident is Ryan Blaney's crewman making almost the save of the year, diving to try to get the wedge bar out of the rear window. Oh, I was screaming during that. But we had more. We had one of Bubba Wallace's crewmen diving to try to catch a tire and falling over the pit wall. NASCAR didn't like that one bit. You had Kyle Larson and Daniel Suarez getting into it on pit road. One leaving, one coming. What are you going to do? Bad situation all around. And one of the best saves I think that Gibbs is going to appreciate is Denny Hamlin's tire changer catching a loose wheel before it leaves the pits. That would have been a massive suspension to a lot of people involved in that incident. He had the spatial awareness to say, guys, stop, bring the jack back around, get the car lifted up, and let me get this thing fixed. Otherwise, we're going to have a bad time. Denny was steaming, but that crewman made the right call, and he saved his team a lot going down the road.
So now we've reached the all-important stage 3. The Toyotas were fucking fast. Midway through the stage, everybody pitted. Denny Hamlin got a speeding penalty, and we were green until Tyler Reddick managed to fuck it off at turn 2. Then we restarted with 30 to go, and Christopher Bell spun William Byron, which put us under another caution. Now we had a restart with Kyle Larson on the front row and Josh Berry in second. If you give Kyle Larson the lead with 25 laps to go, you're not getting it back. You're more likely to find a pot of gold sitting at the bottom of a rainbow. Larson is the Usain Bolt of cars. He can win a lot of sprints, and this was one of them. Kyle Larson managed to win his 20th career Cup race. I can't stress how much this race. I fell asleep twice, alright? That's how bad it was. I woke up, we were still in stage 3. It was so shit and so little happened that Stuart Haas Racing managed to finish towards the front, with all 4 cars varying in the top 20.
So one of the most bafflingly underperforming teams that we've seen in a while is Stuart. Stewart and Ryan Newman, the Rocket Man himself, and they took a risk and brought in Danica Patrick. We already know what happened there. No need to beat that dead horse. They've fallen off a lot in recent years, and that's been really disheartening. But we saw some growth. We saw some improvement this week. Stuart Haas looked confident, leading the charge as always. Kevin Harvick, well, he's always a contender. There's never an issue with Harvick. He is always up there grinding and battling. But the other 3 drivers out there are having a whale of a time. But this week we saw a lot of improvement, from Briscoe finishing 12th, Eric Almirola finishing 13th, and Ryan Preece finishing 18th. That's pretty good. I'm really happy to see that Stuart Haas is finally getting their legs underneath them again and making some strides, because they're in rebuild mode one way or another. We're going to be losing Eric Almirola, and we're going to be losing Kevin Harvick on top of that. We're going to need some big, heavy hitters to come in and try to make some sort of improvement to this team after these guys leave. There's no replacing Kevin Harvick, but you gotta find something.
Now it's time for Dan's Strong Opinions on Richmond.
And now we are on to my favorite segment, Dan's Strong Opinions. And as a lot of you know, I have a lot of strong opinions. So what's my opinion this week? My opinion is Richmond loosely deserves 2 races a year. Richmond night. But the Richmond day race has always been a subpar event, and I loosely care about it. It's more at the bottom of the list. How do I feel like you could improve it? Well, I got an idea. Cover it in dirt. Look, Bristol is such a cool track that deserves 2 normal races a year. The Bristol Dirt Race is a spectacle. I always enjoy watching it. But normal Bristol, I just think, deserves 2 races. I mean, you gotta have the night race, and I'm okay with the day race. I'd love 2 night races, but that would take away from how special Bristol night is. You cover Richmond in dirt with the formation of how that track is. I want to see cars sliding the whole way out of 4, going down that front stretch and hitting 1 and 2, and then go headlong into the back. I want to see that kind of action. That's my strong opinion. You take away one of the day races at Richmond, you cover the place in dirt, give us back 2 Bristol races. These are my opinions, and I'm sticking to them.
So now we have to make our picks, and I lost with such a well-educated guess as well. Like, that's the first time this season, I think, that I've made a guess that has had facts behind it. So now I realise that Richard Childress Racing is in more shit than I realised, and Joe Gibbs Racing was the whole reason that Kyle Busch won in Richmond. So, Dan gets to pick first.
I say we got to keep an eye out for be William Byron. No justification for this. I have no good reason for saying William Byron. I'm just watching this kid in the last several weeks, and I think he's getting a little annoyed. He's finding confidence in the 24. I don't care about the level of dirt racing talent. I am not going to say Kyle Larson because that is the lowest hanging fruit. We all know Kyle Larson's going to be up there. I am picking the 24 of William Byron for no other reason besides my gut says so.
Jonathan Davenport from the Outlaws is going to be in the Cup Series in the number 13. So driving for a competent team. And Kyle Larson was orgasmic at how good he was. So that's more than enough reason for me to put him in my lineup. My educated guesses don't really go too well. So I'm going back to what didn't. So that is it for this week. We'll still be back on Fridays. That was never changing. I love these videos. I enjoy just getting it out there, you know? Just venting, talking about the race. It's almost like I have someone to talk to about racing in my own room. It's great. Every Friday we're back before the race weekend.
That'll wrap us up, man. Elliot, thank you so much for having me. Always a pleasure to be here on the show with you. If you want to give us a follow, please like and subscribe. Comment down below your opinions. Give me a follow at CupDatesDan on Twitter. Fantastic. Just talking so much more NASCAR now this year. Last year I tried but couldn't get into it. Now it's just starting to click and we're having a lot of fun out there. So please give me a follow. Start interacting a little bit more. I'd love to hear from all you guys. As always, just let me know how wrong I am, how right he is. And hey, y'all have a good night.
So tune in then.